We won the Welsh Premier Division at the first time of asking last season, which means European qualification is the focus for Britain Ferry this season. And my intention really was to try and see out the season with Britain Ferry, take them on a European adventure, get some money in the bank, and leave them in the best position possible before moving on to bigger and better things. But sometimes when opportunity knocks, you've got to answer the door. Every so often I will take a little look at the jobs page and see what's available, just out of curiosity more than anything, and to keep abreast of the latest developments in the footballing world. And usually there isn't anything there that even turns my head. It's either a sideways move, not interesting enough, or way above my current station. But recently, there was a job that caught my eye, and it was for Norwegian club Molde. So armed with my 2.5-star reputation, Continental B licence, and various Welsh winners' medals accumulated in my career so far, I put in a little speculative application. Molde are one of the biggest clubs in Norway, and it would represent a huge step up in terms of my career, and also be a really interesting challenge. And to my surprise, we actually got offered a job interview. So I thought no harm in going along to polish my interview technique. I was welcomed by Chairperson Sander Hansen, who expressed concern about me not being able to speak Norwegian. So of course I answered in English and said not to worry about my lack of Norwegian speaking ability, because football is a universal language. They wanted to know why I've never managed in Norway before. So I told them I'd never managed in Norway before because I'd never had the opportunity before. I mean that, and I'm not from Norway. Kind of a weird question if you think about it. I told them I'd only managed one club before due to my intense loyalty, whilst in the process of being in an interview for a job that would take me away from the club that I just expressed that I was so loyal towards. They asked me to make a couple of promises. I promised that I would succeed and meet all their objectives, and I promised that I'd be here for a long time, but not a good time. No, wait. Hopefully a good time as well. See, this is why I need the interview practice. I assured them I was the man to turn the team around and that I was happy to work with the existing director of football. They told me they want to be defensively solid, play possession football, make the most of set pieces, and play high-tempo pressing football. They want a top half finish this season, followed by domestic dominance in the years following. One of the big objectives was also to spend the original transfer budget, which is my kind of objective. And I was hoping that would lead on to them telling me exactly what the budget would be, but they actually didn't even tell me what the budgets were in this interview, so much for that. But I don't see it as a particularly positive thing that they didn't want to share the budgets with me at interview stage, so we'll see, I guess. But I needn't have worried because just 3 days later, I opened my inbox to see a message from Win the Chairman looking to hold a meeting with me to try and discuss terms to keep me at Britain Ferry, which can only mean Molde have approached me. And approach me they did. Would you take a look at those budgets? 23 million transfer budget, £325,000 per week wage budget. Are these normal budgets for the Norwegian Premier Division? Or have I just looked into a club with great finances? They offered me 1.7k per week, which I masterfully negotiated up to 1.8k per week. Either way, it's a huge increase on the £250 per week we were on at Britain Ferry. The announcement was made to the press, which didn't contain the phrase, eyebrows were raised, which I'm taking as a positive. But before we proceed with Molde, I do want to point out that I really did try my best to leave Britain Ferry in the strongest position possible. I did a full summer of transfers, I signed some really strong players for them. Just take a look at some of these guys. Some of these are real quality for the Welsh Premier Division. So I wish Britain Ferry all the best. I thank Win the Chairman for taking a chance on me. I thank him for all the coaching badges that he splashed out on for me. I had an absolutely fantastic time at that club, but it's time to start a new adventure with Molde. So I packed all of my worldly belongings into my Sports Direct mug and took a flight over to Norway. My new wages meant I don't have to stay in a little porter cabin anymore, so I actually managed to rent a flat. And here it is. So I set up my office in my new flat and I even managed to get a new tie, which is blue because, well, Molde play in blue, and I like to pander to the clubs I manage. So now we're set up in the office, let's get to work. The first thing I did was review the season objective, and I actually adjusted this from top half finish to promising that I would get European qualification this season. I know this is risky, but we have to take a chance, and we're already over our massive wage budget, so this should see us be able to make some sort of impactful change. So I quickly threw together a tactic that my staff said would be appropriate. 4-2-4 DM wide gegenpress suits this team according to the coaching team, so that's what we're going to go with. So I set that up, and then I looked at what my best 11 would be within that formation. An immediate problem I identified was that our best left back and our best right back were both unregistered to play in the league. I looked a bit closer and saw there were some players on the bench that were also unregistered. So let's look at the squad registration rules here. So it turns out we can have a squad of 25 players registered, with a maximum of 9 non-homegrown players. And it seems the previous regime had just decided to totally ignore this and sign as many non-homegrown players as they pleased. Us being over our wage budget and being in poor form suddenly makes a lot more sense. So I'm going to have to try and do some wheeling and dealing here, ship some players out, try and fiddle around with the registration, and get a good balanced first team registered here. That way we should really know what our best 11 truly is. But let's take a look at this bank balance, shall we? And there's actually quite a bit of money in the bank here. We've got £37 million saved up, with plenty of transfer budget. This might be a tricky start, but we should be able to do something really good here over the course of a couple of seasons. You could say we need to rebuild Molde. That's if that wasn't such a massively oversaturated term and video type in FM24. So instead, let's say we're going to remold Molde. And to try and understand how we can remold Molde, let's take a look at our present position here. At the time of joining, Molde are down in 11th place in the league, in danger of being sucked into a relegation battle. Their form's very inconsistent, and it's led to the previous manager, Henrik Rydstrom, being sacked after just 240 days in the job. Weirdly, in the season preview, Molde are actually favourites for the title, which says a lot about the quality of player here, but I have to wonder how much of that is based upon the unregistered foreign players that are here on our overly inflated books. Looking into recent history here, Molde had a run of 8 seasons in a row finishing in the top 3 in Norway, but last season they came crashing down with a 7th place finish. And with the club currently in 11th, in danger of getting sucked into a relegation battle, they've decided now is the time to call in an inexperienced foreign manager who does not speak the language, who's never managed at this level before, and didn't even know the squad registration rules before joining. What could possibly go wrong? So let's review our first month in the job here. We've actually only got 16 games left in the season, and we really need to try and turn this season around before next season we can really try and remold Molde. And then hopefully next season we can mount a serious title challenge. So what I'm going to do is take you through the first month here, and then at the end of this month, after I've messed around with a few things in the background, we should then understand our strongest lineup, and I'll introduce you to the team properly following August. Our first game was against Kongsvinger, who are struggling near the bottom of the table, so we lined up in our new 4-2-4 formation, and we went out to attack. This proved fruitful, as after 7 minutes, Svensson scored this deflected effort after picking up on a loose ball outside the box. Just 3 minutes later, we conceded a goal. Another heavy deflection means that Van Ruij gets the unwanted credit for this as an own goal. We were up for it though, and Ganago played in Svensson for his and our second of the game. Sadly for us, they were up for it as well, as they easily carved through our defence to score this effort. We came out swinging in the second half though, with Ganago putting in the finishing touch to this move to put us back ahead. Robertson scored this effort from distance in the 91st minute to put the game beyond doubt, with Robertson then turning provider for Kitolano to score this goal in the 92nd minute. The 2 injury time goals means it finishes 5-2. Not a bad start. We also played Brann, who are up near the top of the table. Svensson showed he's loving life in this new system as he bagged the opener after 41 minutes. But in the second half, Brann spoiled our party with this well-worked goal. A very even game, so on balance, 1-1 was probably a fair result. We also saw a 2-1 win against Lillestrøm and a 1-1 draw against Viking, which means we're undefeated in our first 4 games. All of this means we've jumped up from 11th to 5th in the table after just 4 games. And I did manage to do some transfer business as well. Let's have a look. First things first, we really need some coaching staff here. It seems most of the backroom staff either quit with the previous manager, or the previous manager just didn't have any backroom staff, which might explain why he was struggling so much. We literally only had a goalkeeping coach and a fitness coach here. So we put some job adverts out there and waited to hear back from the applicants. Jan Frauge joins us as a set-piece coach. We also brought in Robin Asterhead as our assistant manager. Roy McKay joins us as well as a well-rounded coach. Germany legend Miroslav Klose joins us as a coach who will hopefully get our strikers scoring. We welcome Tab Ramos, who joins the coaching team, a former USA international, and John O'Shea also joins. He should help tidy things up around here because, looking at his job history, he was previously a caretaker at Barnsley. Oh no, sorry, my mistake, it says caretaker manager at Barnsley. So I have to say it's really nice to have some decorated former ex-pros, ex-international players, really top-class quality former pros here on the coaching team at Molde. Oh, and John O'Shea. So let's look at the transfers here. We did have to move a few players on because we had far too many non-homegrown players here at the club. So we sold Brazilian wingback Lucas Suarez to Anderlecht for 1.3 million. Marcus Bagson also left for 550k, which helps rebalance the non-homegrown issue we were facing here. And we also sold Valdemar Lund Jensen to Gylvisense for 800k. He hasn't played a game for Molde since the 2024 season, which just highlights the imbalance issue here with this squad that I've inherited. This did help free up some funds, so we went out looking for some homegrown Norwegian talent. Adrian Pereira joins us for 775k from Tromsø to provide competition at left back. He looks to be a really well-rounded player. Daniel Karlsbach can play on the left, on the right, up front, and he's got some decent stats. He joins us for 675k. Herman Stengel is another option for us in defensive midfield. He's got a nice first touch, passing and technique, as well as strong mentals. We paid 4.2 million for him from Montpellier, but the headline signing is Nicolas Odegaard. He was transfer listed at Arsenal, having joined them just 2 years ago from Molde. He joins us for an eye-watering 19 million. But hey, the board wanted me to spend that transfer budget, right? And I was happy to oblige. Odegaard is 6'3", with insanely good jumping reach, and he should be a real threat going forward for us. He's actually already listed as the best player in the division on the season preview page, so I'm happy we brought him in. He's no relation to Martin Odegaard, who weirdly is also at Arsenal. All of which means we can actually register a pretty strong team that I'm very happy with now. So let's take a look at what I think is probably our strongest lineup at the moment. Marian Ioane is in goal for us. The Romanian is a fine keeper, and he'll be our first choice between the sticks this season. Bart van Ruge is a solid option at right back for us. Pietro Beroato wasn't even registered when I first arrived here, but he looks to be a fantastic attacking left back. Xavier Mbayamba is 6'4" and will be an imposing presence at centre back. He will be partnered at the back by David Carmo, who at 6'5" is even more of an imposing figure at centre back. Albanian Ramadani will be our ball-winning midfielder. Deep line playmaker will either be our new signing Stengel or Algerian Nabil Bentaleb. Hakon Evgen is quick and he can dribble. He'll be starting on the right wing for us. Haldor Stenovic will be the first choice on the left wing. Sander Svensson's been banging in the goal since I arrived, so he'll be starting up front. And alongside him will be our new star signing, Nicolas Odegaard. There's some real quality there, so let's go win some football games. September kicked off with a game against Rosenborg, who are listed as our fierce rivals. We better put in a good performance here then. Things got off to a bad start after 4 minutes as we let Helleburst have too much time and space to finish this one, but just 4 minutes later we pulled one back, thanks to a Stenovic corner finding the head of Carmo, who headed in the equaliser for us. Odegaard then played in Stenovic, who had a lot to do. He did well to put away our second of the game. Svensson made the most of this loose ball, falling to him to pick up our third of the afternoon. Stenovic then picked out Odegaard, who had the time to convert this one calmly for a debut goal for him. Well, second debut I guess, as he's played for us before. They pulled one back in the 83rd minute via a corner, but it was too little too late, as we ran out convincing 4-2 winners. We followed that up with a local derby against Kristiansund. Things got off to a bad start again for us as David Carmo scored an own goal after just 43 minutes. But we found a way back in after 17 minutes as Van Ruge picked out Nicolas Odegaard to level the game. Odegaard was on hand again to pick up on this loose ball after Svensson's effort was saved. And it was Odegaard again popping up with a header in the 80th minute from another Van Ruge cross, a hat-trick for Odegaard. Hey, he was expensive, but he looks like he's going to be a quality player in this league. We picked up 2-0 wins against both Tromsø and Vålerenga in our following games, which means the league table looks like this. After just 8 league games, we've actually managed to jump all the way from 11th to 1st in the table, level on points with both Brann and Vålerenga. Let's keep this momentum going. I just want to take a second here to say thank you for watching this far. If you're enjoying the content, I just ask that you please leave a like to help push this out to more people. And you can say you were there at the start when you helped this channel grow. Speaking of which, subscribe if you do want to know when more videos are coming in future. Cheers. Into October now, and we went up against Sandefjord, who are currently very much mid-table. Things got off to our trademark bad start as they went ahead thanks to this goal following a corner. We took some time to warm up, but Odegaard headed down to Bentaleb, who powered this one in to equalise. Odegaard then found himself out on the right wing, but he did well to pick out Stenovic, who applied the finish to put us ahead. Bentaleb then did well to keep this move alive, Odegaard applying the finish this time. The floodgates have opened up now though as Van Ruge played in Svensson for our fourth. Svensson then played in Odegaard, who had all the time in the world to put this one away for number 5, and they started as they finished, with this effort going in after a corner, but the game ended 5-2. Gotta say we're looking good here, but the next game was odd. I mean the next game is against Odds BK, who are struggling near the bottom of the table. Let's see how we got on against them. Stenovic was played in by Pereira, he turned and finished well to put us ahead. Robertson then hit a floated cross which Odegaard powerfully headed in. Pereira then did ever so well to score this one from left back for our third of the game. We rounded things off as Odegaard found himself in space in the middle, and he does not miss from there. 4-0 it finished. We won 3-2 against Haugesund, and 5-2 against KFUM Oslo for another month of solid winning. We sit 3 points clear of Brann in second place, with just 4 games to go. Quite ridiculously, despite only playing 8 games and having been signed at the end of August, Nicolas Odegaard's currently the top scorer in the league with 12 goals. Gotta say, 19 million's looking like a bargain for him now. But we're going into November now. This is the business end of the season in Norway. There's just 4 games remaining. Can we complete the comeback of all comebacks and win a league title? Let's go through those 4 games right now. First up, we're playing Sarpsborg. They're a team struggling near the bottom of the table. Ramadani did well to convert this one after a nice free kick routine. That set piece coach is paying off. Svensson did well to smash this one in from a tight angle for our second. They failed to deal with a corner, which allowed Mubiyamba to smash this one in from just outside the area. They did pull one back in the 83rd minute, but Odegaard needed to get his name on the score sheet, and so he found the space in the middle to finish this one to make it 4-1. Next up, we face reigning Norwegian Premier Division champions, Bodo/Glimt. I can only assume that's how you're supposed to say their name. They went ahead following a corner after 12 minutes. A mazy run down the left from Berowato resulted in Ramadani putting this one away to level the game. Sigurðsson scored with the world's easiest and silliest looking header to put them back ahead. Evian drifted inside from the right wing to put this one away to tie things up again. Their player Wembam Goyo scored this excellent goal to put them back ahead. Worth noting he's their left back. Finn then scored this effort to put the game beyond doubt. This makes things nervy going into the last 2 games. But we do have the opportunity to try and get our swagger back against mid-table Fredrikstad. Stenovic played in our main man Odegaard after just 11 minutes to ease our nerves. Evian then played it into the box for who else but Odegaard for our second. Stangel hit this penalty into the top corner to make it 3. 6'4" centre-back Kasper Oivan scored his first goal of the season, and what a way to do it. Kitolano got number 5 thanks to an assist from Stangel. Kitolano then squared it to Odegaard for his hat-trick, and our 6th of the game. I've said it before and I've said it again, we know how to bounce back. Thanks, Alan. So going into the final game of the season, we sit top of the league with Brann just 2 points behind us. My god, this is tense now. We play Kongsvinger, who are down in 14th. Brann play Tromsø, who sit rock bottom of the table. So I selected my strongest 11, and off we headed into battle. This is for the title. But hey, when I started this job, if you told me we'd be challenging for the title on the last day of the season, I'd have bitten your hand off, so let's go. Unfortunately, we gave away a penalty, which they had no problem converting after just 19 minutes. Things went from bad to worse as Paulowski scored this one to make it 2. This is turning into a disaster. But things went from worse to even more worse when they scored a third. We did pull one back with this header from Mubiyamba, following a Pereira corner in the 82nd minute, but it was a disappointing defeat. Even more disappointing when you look at the match stats. We had the better of the game by far, but they were just a lot more clinical. But all is not lost, we just need Brann to slip up against a team that are rock bottom of the league. Let's cross our fingers and check that result. And did they slip up? Nope, they win 3-0. Which heartbreakingly means the league table looks like this on the final day. Brann win it by 1 single point. I have to say we did really well considering where we were when I took over, but it's still an incredibly frustrating way to lose the title. But it just makes me all the more determined to go back and win it next season. Given our Champions League qualification, the board have given us a wage budget of 375k per week and a transfer budget of 19.93 million. We are so winning the league next season. In the end of season awards, Ramadani got Fans Player of the Year, Mubiyamba got Young Player of the Season, Nicholas Odegaard got Signing of the Season, Most Player of the Matches and Top Goal Scorer. Odegaard actually finished as the top scorer in the entire league too, with 16 goals and just 12 appearances. Let's hope he continues that next season for us. So thank you very much for watching, really hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do leave a like to let me know. Subscribe if you do want to see more videos in future. Say hello in the comments and I'll catch you next time. Cheers!